Hi guys, just finished watching the second semi-final, Wales against South Africa, and another semi-final where I get my prediction a little bit wrong. The final score, Wales 16, South Africa 19. It was a game that, just thinking about it, that game in terms of tension was high, and if you're liking tense games, that's good. But in terms of quality rugby, it was pretty dull to be honest. And big reason it was dull is because both teams play a very similar kind of game. And I think a lot of folk, including myself, predicted that both were going to continue to play that style of game in this match, and it told. But I think overall, South Africa's physicality just got them over the line, as well as Pollard's boot, of course. But the key moments were in that second half that just tilted it in South Africa's favour, and it was their physicality as well playing a part in that. I'm just going to talk about the game now. The first half was 9-6 to South Africa at half time, but it was so dull. I can just basically sum it up with saying just kicky smashy. Basically, both teams just booted it up in the air, went to try and catch it and smashed their opponents back. Boot it up in the air, smash them back. Boot it up and smash them back, and that was the first half really. And South Africa just scraped it. The second half was more or less the same at the start of it. It was just mostly kick, kick, smash, smash, kick. And then as the second half wore on, South Africa's scrum got stronger, and then they got themselves into a good position. A great break by Henri Pollard, and this is where I'm surprised South Africa don't use him more as a runner, because he's a really dangerous running 10 with ball in hand, but he just seems to kick a lot more than I think he should do. I think he can pose defence as a very great threat with his feet and his hands. But anyway, he makes the break, gets in behind the Welsh defence. Wales tackle him, creates a bit of an overlap, and Demian Delande counteracts that, uses that, and goes and scores in the corner. Very good try, well worked, to be fair, although it was a bit sloppy Welsh tackling on Delande, but it was good feet from Delande to get over the line. And then Wales bounced back. They got themselves into the South African 22, had phase after phase after phase off slow ball, didn't do anything with it, got a penalty, and then from that penalty, Alan Wynne-Jones decided bravely at the time to go for the scrum. And the scrum was put under pressure. This was when the scrum was really starting to creak for Wales, but the scrum was under pressure. Moriarty picks up. They get the ball wide. It gives it to Williams. They get the ball wide, and Josh Adams scores in the corner. Again, well worked try off a scrum under pressure, and they managed to exploit the space out wide. Later on, Reece Patchell missed a drop goal from about the halfway line. I could understand why they were thinking that, considering they weren't really gaining any ground with their phases. But still, they had plenty of time on the clock. A bit more patience, just keep the ball in hand. And they went for the drop goal at the wrong time, I think. And then later on in the match, when Wales had possession again, this is where the game really and the momentum really swung in South Africa's favour. When Francois Lowe came on, his first attempt at a turnover, he was caught offside, but then later on, he was sniffing around at breakdowns up until that point. He'd been on the pitch, and then he just goes in, catches Alan Wynne-Jones isolated, going into contact, and then just goes over and wins the penalty for South Africa. And then South Africa boot it up the field. They get a maul. The maul Wales infringe at, and then Pollard kicks the penalty, which wins it for South Africa and sends South Africa into the final next week against England. And I don't think England will be that terribly worried if both sides play the same. England play like they did against New Zealand, South Africa play like they did against Wales. England will win. Simple as that. I think South Africa, their physicality will give England problems, definitely. They'll try and play for a lot of territory, a bit more than New Zealand did. They won't try and run through the hands as much, which could keep England pinged back a bit more. But overall, England, I'd expect to have a little bit too much for this South African team. But again, that's next week. This game, good in terms of tension and keeping you on the edge of your seat. Bad in terms of quality rugby, but well done to South Africa. You don't play a brand of rugby I particularly enjoy, but you got the job done. Commiserations to Wales. Just again, South Africa end their World Cup hopes, and Wales will play New Zealand in the third, fourth place playoff. Um, Again, you could say a sad way for Gatland to end his Wales coaching career, but he's done very well, and obviously he's done fantastically the last 11 years. And for his sake, you could argue, he could have gone out on a high a lot better, but it is what it is. South Africa, like say, go on to the final. I'll be having a few videos in the week looking ahead to the final and the third and fourth place playoff, along with a couple other things, possibly. We'll see how I go. But thank you very much for watching this video, guys, and hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and I'll catch you later on.